thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. I'm excited to be here today to sign House Bill 1552. I just really would want to thank everyone involved with this measure. I know that there was lots of work that went into it. Wanted to thank Chairs Takayama and Nishihara for your commitment to improving our correctional and judicial systems. I think this measure goes a long way to providing oversight. House Bill 1552 creates the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission, who will provide independent oversight of the state's correctional system. The new commission replaces two others that were operating, the Reentry Commission and the Corrections Population Management Commission. Both were providing input to improving reentry programs, as well as helping to manage the population in the prisons. The new commission is to promote efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency in our corrections and criminal justice system here in the islands. For the correction system, the hope is to reduce the inmate population, reduce spending, and reduce the likelihood of repeat offenders returning to prison. The new commission and Oversight Coordinator within the department will work with the Director of Public Safety to investigate complaints at correctional facilities, to set policies and procedures to prevent overpopulation, and work with the Department of Public Safety on reentry programs, educational and treatment programs, rehabilitation services and parole, and ensure timely release of inmates once their maximum terms have been served. For the criminal justice system, our hope is to improve clarity and consistency in the criminal pretrial system. This measure is intended to look at bail and opportunities for bail reform, requiring bail reports and risk assessments to be completed in 3 days, and to take into consideration an offender's financial circumstances, providing prompt hearings for defendants at time of arraignment to determine pretrial detention or release with surveillance and electronic monitoring as alternatives, and home detention upon court order. They're also requiring and examining that bail be set at reasonable amounts. I really wanted to thank everyone involved with this measure. It really is focused on improving our corrections and criminal justice system. It encompasses many ideas that we've been talking about and making progress in small ways throughout our system for the last several years. And I think most importantly, it is focused on providing integrity, fairness, and transparency in our criminal justice and correctional system. And so with that, I would like to invite Senator Nishihara to say a few words.
Governor, if you don't mind, could we let maybe the CJ have the first word?
Sure, I can have
This is a very exciting day. You know, it's been a long road for this state on issues related to criminal justice reform. We had a criminal justice reform initiative back in 2012. And I think, you know, there were very high hopes at that time, but there was a sense that we didn't get as far as we wanted to go, and we needed to do more. And there were areas where we could just do better in protecting, enhancing public safety, but in also ensuring, for example, that we're not holding people in custody pre-trial before they've been adjudicated guilty of a crime just because they can't afford bail. So you look at the system, where are we putting our resources? Are we putting them in the places where they're going to do the most good, where they're going to help advance the cause of ensuring public safety, or are we putting them in places where they're really not achieving that? So I think we had 2 task forces that worked very, very hard for several years. One on effective incarceration policies that was chaired by my colleague, Justice Michael Wilson. I want to thank him for all his hard work. And another on pretrial reform, which was chaired by Judge Ram Trader and also Shirley Kawamura. And they worked very, very hard over the course of a year, and in the other case of Justice Wilson's task force for several years, to come up with good recommendations which are reflected in these bills. And really, on the pretrial side, probably the critical thing is having decisions made earlier or quicker in the process, and having more information for judges when they make decisions about bail. So information about financial circumstances, the ability to make more individualized determinations about a particular defendant, and critically, the ability to make those decisions more quickly. So those are just a few of the innovations that this bill reflects. I think the other thing that's really important is that we have ongoing structures to ensure a continued focus, that we're not going to all just walk out of this room today and pat ourselves on the back and say this work is done. The work's not done. We have a lot left to do, but we have two organizations in the prison system, the Oversight Commission, and in the judiciary, we have a Criminal Justice Research Institute, which is really going to keep a focus on these issues, how we're doing, collect data, look for best practices, and just force us to keep looking and trying to get better and achieve the ultimate goal, which is enhancing public safety and doing it in a way that respects individual rights. So I couldn't be more thrilled to be here. I thank you, Governor, for your leadership, everyone who participated in these task forces at the legislature, Rep. Takayama, Senator Nishihara were just great. There are a lot of times where this bill was on the precipice this year. They kind of came together and worked with their colleagues. We have Chair Lee here, Chair Rhodes from the Judiciary Committee, Majority Leader Della Al-Baladi, the Speaker, the President, Finance Chair Sylvia Luke, and Chair Dela Cruz from Ways and Means came together, provided funding, because it's great to talk about doing things quicker and getting more information, but if you don't give the resources to the Public Safety Department to get those things done, they're just not going to be able to do it, or at least not at the level we wanted. So to everyone who came together to make this happen, I want to express my deep appreciation and optimism for the future, but we can't just again say, hey, we're done now, we can all go home. The work is just beginning. So again, to every one of you, thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who contributed to these task forces, who worked hard, who's worked on these issues over the years, who've come at it from different perspectives with different backgrounds, for helping us get to this point. But let's keep it going. So thank you very much, Governor. I appreciate it.
Senator Nishihara.
Thank you, Governor. And thank you, CJ. It's so important, the comments you made. The important aspects of this bill covers the Research Institute, which is, I think, you work hand in glove with the commission as well. And I think we need to have research. We need to have a commission that will truly look at oversight of a system that is lacking in some other areas that needs to be brought up to speed. And I think clearly the people who worked on it, and everybody here, I see members of the committee that worked on it. And I'd like to recognize Bob Merce, who was kind of championing. It's my choice to pick someone to be on the commission. It would be Bob Merce, as well as I'm sure there's others who probably would do a great job, and Governor, remember his name. So anyway, I think this is an opportunity to really to make criminal justice reform something real that's happening in other states. And this is an opportunity, I think, for our state to get ahead of some of the problems that we may be facing or have been facing, that we can finally make real headway. And working together with the Department of Public Safety, I think we need to all realize that it'll be a team effort to make the changes we need to make. And we have to put our different views aside and focus on what is the real impact of something like this to make it happen. And I think at the end, the public will be better served when we do that. And I think and we have less finger pointing and maybe we're pointing ourselves in the right direction where we need to go. But thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm humbled to be a part of such an important, even historic event as this here this afternoon. You know, it's a product of a collaborative relationship between the administration, the judiciary, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, it has to be noted, played an important role in this as well. The product, the legislative product, I think, is something that we will all benefit from. I'm confident that this measure will result in a correctional and criminal justice system that is smarter, safer, and more transparent. And for that, we will all be beneficiaries. So thank you all very much.
Colette, did you want to say something?
Just something brief.
Yeah.
As you know, Native Hawaiians comprise of a majority of those that are incarcerated. So for OHA to be named in the legislation to appoint an individual to represent our interests, it's really big for us. So thank you for including us in the legislative intent and the language that came out. We will be able to stand by to provide that kind of support. It is a big day for us because my heart bleeds. You know, I weep all the time about the generational curses that come down from the top down to the babies and again and again. And we're hopeful that the transparency of this commission will be able to make significant changes for our people. Not just my people, but the government itself, so systemic changes can move forward. We may have issues with Mr. Nolan, but again, we need to put that aside and work towards a common good. So we look forward to working with you, sir, and all of us that have come, but we could not have gotten this far. And I wanted to name a few of those that worked tirelessly for 2 years on the different task force. Mita Lynn, Cap Brady, we have Kukona back there, Michael Town too. All of these people made this happen. And Uncle Joe Tasso, who we stood behind on the whole Kono. We raised the banner for Native Hawaiians, and thank you. You know, Governor, we don't always agree, but this one we get on.
We'll have the legislators join. CK. House Bill 1552, House Draft 2, Senate Draft 2, Conference Draft 1, a bill for an act relating to public safety. Is now law in Hawaii as Act 179. Congratulations.